And then when I moved here, my kids were the ones that encouraged me to go into cooking, because they recognize that, of course, there's nowhere to find Jamaican food. And then so I started just catering for some friends from Marshfield Clinic, some doctors from
Welcome to the Small Towns Big People podcast. My name is Joe and I'm here with Kyle in this sweet ride limo, ready to talk business, life, and anything else that comes up.
We're going around the Midwest looking for small town people who are doing great things. We hope listening to these guests will encourage, inspire, and motivate you to do something great within your town.
Hope you enjoy our next guest.
Hey everybody, we're back with another interview show. We've got Janice Watson on for Taste of Jamaica, and she is going to be talking us through kind of her food truck business, and she does a bunch of other things too. So Janice, you want to give us kind of an intro into you, what you're doing, talk about your business a little bit?
Certainly. So I'm Janice Watson. I've been doing A Taste of Jamaica now since 2019. Moved here in Wausau 2017, and so we started catering before we started the food truck, which started in 2022. So been doing this for a little bit, and this whole thing started really, the cooking of Jamaican food is just based on how I grew up with my grandmother, and so I am the oldest grandchild, so I had to learn to do all of this stuff. So why I'm still doing it now. Plus, there was no food like that here.
Mm-hmm. So you're from Jamaica?
I am from Jamaica.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
When did you come to America?
I came to America now 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Time has flown.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, the whole Jamaican food is in my blood.
Mm-hmm. So did you always work in restaurants?
No, I've done catering and worked with caterers when I lived in Massachusetts. That's something I did a lot of. So I never really worked in restaurants in that, in that facet at all. But I've always cooked. I've always catered. I think when I lived in Florida, I was always cooking for people and all of that. And so, and then when I moved here, my kids were the ones that encouraged me to go into cooking, because they recognize that, of course, there's nowhere to find Jamaican food. And then so I started just catering for some friends from Marshfield Clinic, some doctors from Marshfield Clinic, and then that's how it really just took off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just started doing it on the side, and as it built up, then you were able to do more and more and less of the other stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I had to pause it for a little bit because I had surgery, I had major surgery, so I couldn't really cook and do all of that, and so now I think, with the food truck really was the one that started, because I was in a restaurant. I should say I was in a college doing the work, but it was not as successful, but I recognize the food truck can be way more successful. Yeah.
So what pushed you to the food truck versus like a brick and mortar type restaurant?
I think because when I was at the college, we were not in a great location at that place, but it was an opportunity for me to understand the restaurant business itself and what would work for us, and so I felt that I was getting lots of people asking me to go and come and set up at their events, and so I figured having a food truck is really more mobile than just going and setting up a tent. Why I stepped into that.
Is the area pretty food truck friendly? Because I know that can be an issue for that line.
We're getting better at that. When I started several years ago, we didn't have many food trucks, but now there are more food trucks within the community.
There's whole food truck events now.
Yeah, and there are more food truck events than they were ever before. Even this year, the River District started one that wasn't something that was out before, and so that will be something new this year. Okay. Yeah, so it's getting bigger.
Cool.
Yeah, there's one by my house that it's only food trucks. There's nothing else going on.
Great.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
But yep, that's it. And there were a lot of people. What do you enjoy the most about what you do?
serving people. I think for me is serving people is what I enjoy the most, and then for them to understand the culture, to be able to share the food that I loved when I was growing up. Still love my food. I don't want to say I don't, but to be able to have people experience what I experience is what I love to do, and then just to talk. I think lots of folks have traveled to Jamaica, and so, you know, sit down and talking about their experience, that is, I love that. I love to be able to share the culture and talk with people through it and, you know, their experiences.
Well, I think food and music are the two universal languages of the world. So.
Exactly.
I don't speak music.
Everywhere I've traveled, though, food, music.
You don't, but you listen.
Wow.
But you speak food.
I do speak food. Yeah, I do speak food.
Yeah, and if you know, Jamaican culture is really food and music. I mean, we have all the other stuff, but food and music are a huge part of our culture. Yeah.
And bobsledding, right?
Not sure about that, Joe.
Okay, so you decided to get the food truck. Can you talk about startup costs, investment? You know, what did you have to put into that to make that work?
So the food truck, the cost of that was I should say a trailer. At the time I couldn't afford a truck because it was $80,000 to buy a truck itself, and so the food trailer was about $36,000, you know, compared to 80, and so that's what we invested in, and so that's it. And then I had to purchase a truck to pull the trailer, which was less expensive as well, and so the investment total, it's about $80,000 with the trailer, the truck, and all the other things that come with setting up a food truck, registering the truck, getting all the certifications and licensing that I have to have when you do any food businesses. It was about $80,000 startup cost.
Okay. Yeah. And did you fund it? Did you get a small business loan? How did you? I
had an anonymous donor. I shouldn't say the person I know, but gave the loan to get the trailer, and so that's really how I've been doing it and paying them for it.
So kind of like an angel investor,
yes,
or
exactly.
a Shark Tank guy.
Private money loan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
How did you sell it to him to get him to want to invest? Or did he sell you on getting into it?
No, I think the food. They're a customer that I've always had, and they felt that other people, because where I was, people weren't really experiencing the food, and they felt that if I was out on the road, people would experience what they're experiencing, and so that was the biggest piece. Them knowing what the food was and knowing who I was and wanted to invest in me so other folks can taste what they're experiencing. And that's it. I never really had to sell it. They just knew that was something that they wanted.
So did you approach them, or did they approach you?
They approached me.
They approached you, like, hey, you should do this.
Yeah,
and like,
hey, you should do this. And
we'll buy the trailer. We'll get this going. You pay us back as time goes by. And
that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, and how did you? That's almost too good to be true, right? Like, if you hear that story on the side, like.
Yeah, you can't. How do you replicate that?
Well, and how do you have the trust in that person? Like, was that a hurdle that you had to overcome personally, or?
Relationship is huge for me, and I mean, I have faith. I believe that my being here in Wausau I was not just placed here. I'm here for a reason, and so I feel that if I'm placed here, that means God will open the doors and He'll place the persons in my life to be able to do that. And so that was a relationship that started when I went to the university. They wanted me. They felt that. They were one of the persons that felt that I could do well at the university, not thinking about COVID and how many students would no longer be there. And so they knew, just based on just other things that I've done in the community when I came, that would have been, so that's a relationship that I built, or we built together when I came here. Yeah.
Okay, we like to transition to goals. Do you have goals, written goals, goals in your head?
I have written goals. I have goals in my
Oh
head.
my! I want you to teach Kyle right now how to write a goal.
I got him now.
So what are your goals for the future? What are you hoping to do this year? What are you hoping to do 5-10
Yeah.
years down the road?
So last year I did not do much on the food truck. This year though, I'm booked almost every weekend. Doing a catering starting this weekend, as a matter of fact. And so my goal this year is to have my weekends booked as much as I can on the trailer, and they all are up to September. I may have 2 weekends open, and I might need those weekends just to rest because I don't have as many people as I had before that was helping. So my goal was to make sure our weekends were booked, and the other goal now is to find the right persons to be able to be on the trailer with me. My food is niche, so not everybody can cook it, and so having, you know, my brother or a friend of mine to be able to help me when on those times when he's available, they'll be able to help. But my biggest goal is to find a place where we can set up trailers, food trucks all over it may be just one place in our city, and having I should say like a huge kitchen, so different persons can rent the kitchen out, and then they can cook, bring their foods out on their food trailer, wherever, or we also have a spot, but then also to have a catering section so we can cater and prepare meals, and people can come and have events there. So that's my ultimate goal, to have that place. Yeah.
What is the process you go about to write goals or come up with your goals? Do you sit down once a year? Do you sit down every week? What do you do?
It differs. I think, you know, when I got the note from you and talked, you know, about what is my goal, I had some of those things written down, but sometimes it's that reminder. For me, once a year, twice a year. For the business, it's normally maybe twice a year. Personally, once a year, depending on what's going on. I might have to sit down again maybe 4 times out of the year to rewrite my goal. But twice a year for the business, depending on how things are going, and if there's things happening with, you know, the food truck, do I need to do more catering, all of those kinds of stuff. So my goal is kind of split between catering and also the food trailer.
And when you say you've got written goals, is it like literally on a piece of paper, or is it?
It's on my phone in my notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How often do you look at it?
So now that I'm getting ready for food trailer work, I'm looking at it, wanting to know, okay, what it is that I wanted to do. I think about when I'm on the trail, I think about my goals all the time. You know, I think having a permanent kitchen is always in the back of my mind, because we don't have nothing like that here. There is one permanent kitchen, but 10 people cook in it, and it's just a little spot. And so having that's always there for me. So I might not have to look at it. I'm seeing it on a daily basis. Yeah.
All right. How about finances? Do you do your accounting? What do you use for software?
I don't do my accounting.
Okay.
Because I just didn't know. I was gonna do it myself, but it gets, when you're cooking, having to find all my receipts, having to do all of that. I do keep them all, but I do have someone that does the accounting for the business, so I don't have to do it.
So an accountant?
Yep.
Or a CPA?
Yeah,
you hire
I have an
someone
accountant.
that's
Yeah,
specific
and this
to...
accountant was someone that came into the business all the time and purchased food. And so he knows the business. He understood what we were doing and knew when we were going to move outside of the university. And so,
So how do you know money-wise when dollars and cents coming in and out? And does he give you reports? Do you review stuff with him?
So I track my expense, my income and expense. That's something I do on a spreadsheet all the time. And then I just give them the sales tax and all the stuff that they need to do. But yeah, all of that stuff is tracked by me. Yeah. So I know how I'm spending. I mean, I have to know that everything has now gone up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And if you're not touching it,
Yep.
it's easy for that to just
Yep.
ruin you.
And then you can't adjust your prices.
I
or
can't,
anything that you're
exactly.
into as well.
Yeah, so that I have to do. I mean, I literally just went to Madison last week to purchase chicken, and maybe that same chicken was $1.62 a pound. Now it's $3.03 a pound. So everything is now really gone up, and so I do have to adjust my prices. It's crazy. By a full, I won't do it by a full, but yeah.
Yeah. So you tracking that, the accountant is doing all the business like filing and doing your taxes and all that. And so when you analyze, how can you talk through, like, if you were going to charge for that chicken you just bought, what were the steps you'd go through to pick a price on what you're going to charge for that chicken?
Yeah, well, one, I look at the market. You know, I have to look at the market first. Okay, what are people selling for chicken here, for a chicken sandwich? I do have to analyze that. And then I based on the amount that I'm serving, I really break it down. Okay, if I'm gonna serve a 3-ounce piece of chicken breast or thigh, how much it's gonna be, breaking it down based on the cost. I do it that way. And then it's really just market value. That's the biggest piece, because I don't want to overcharge, but then I also have to be mindful that I'm on a food trailer, and there's a little bit more cost to that than if I was in the standalone business. Yeah.
And you're in a niche, so you say market prices, but what are you comparing to?
Well, I know it's hard to compare it to something.
KFC's chicken sandwich?
No, I can't compare it.
But you can, if you compare to that and say, okay, I gotta be more than that, because that's the low, that's the bottom.
Right. So that's the bottom, and then I look at, well, so say Malarkey's makes a chicken. They do make jerk chicken meal. I cannot compare my meal to them, because my food is a different level. We're really cooking Jamaican food. And so if Malarkey's is selling their chicken sandwich or their chicken meal for $18, I'm like, does it really value that based on the things that they're using to season the stuff? Because I have all traditional things. So yes, it's hard because there's nothing to really compare our stuff to, but I still have to be mindful to what the market value is.
I suppose you raise your rates real high and nobody comes shopping, and you're like, oh, well, no, we'll drop it off, put a sale out there. I don't know.
Especially people that haven't had Jamaican food. Like, it's hard to go and try something that's at the top end of a market, because you're like, I might not like this. So that's a weird dilemma that you're. And
we do that, and so, you know, when I'm on the truck, if somebody says, okay, I want to try something, and so we have different things that I'm not gonna have you try a sandwich, but you can try our meat that we use to make our taco meat. It's the same jerk, and, you know, with a fried plantain, and then to see if there's something that you like, or just try the chicken. It is spicy, and so if you come and don't like spice, then do not. You know, try not. Don't just spend your money. It's going to be spicy, and so I think those are the things that people would have to recognize.
So, I heard a couple things in here that. How do you factor in? So you drove to Madison to buy chicken. How do you factor in the drive time, gas, wear and tear into the cost of that chicken? How do you factor in the free samples, the marketing? How do you blend that? Because that's not on one specific item. What do you go through to do that?
So it's just like giving back, because I do every year. Big Brother's Big Sister, I go and set up and cook there. So I have on my spreadsheet, I have a breakdown where I add, okay, here's what I've donated. And so there's a percentage that I use, and now I can't think of what that is in my spreadsheet that says donation. Monthly, or depending on how much I do on that. But there are times of the year when I give back to just a lot of the community organizations, where I just go into homes and cook. So, you know, persons will purchase the food, or I purchase the food, and I just give that to them. So yeah, that's a part of the spreadsheet.
So that those costs are factored into what you're ultimately charging in the end. So that
Do you figure in for loss and spoilage and all that too? A small portion as well.
Yeah, and I'm mindful. I think I learned when I was in the college how to purchase. Before, I don't think if I did not have that experience, I would not know. I see now that I know, I can purchase the amount of stuff that I need that will last me a certain time. So I can purchase my chicken, season it up, and put it in the freezer right away. That's what I do, and so that will last me a while. Take it out, thaw it out, and then cook it. Yeah, but that's what I've been doing. But different foods can't be sourced that are served.
Yep.
That's served that way.
Okay, how about accountability in the money? So you're the one primarily doing it right now, but you want to have other people help you. You want to have, I assume you want to have times where like, hey, it's going this weekend, but I can go to the beach today instead of serving chicken. How do you keep that? How do you keep that accountability so that you know that the person running your truck didn't steal from you?
Yeah, I mean, now I don't have the people that I had before. You know, if my brother, normally if I'm doing something like that, I'll have my brother on the truck, or I had some folks that I trusted really well who's moved back to the Caribbean. So that's a hard thing at this point. You know, if I have my brother and he's on the truck, I don't have to worry about those things. And the people that I have that work with me right now, they're trustworthy, all of them. But then, it's, you know, when you get new hires, having those persons that I trust tremendously will be the ones that are on the truck all the time if I'm not around. But
even trustworthy isn't necessarily. So, for example, I'm thinking of if you're making tacos, if they're putting twice as much taco meat on there, and they're not being deceptive, they're not doing anything that they think is wrong, they're just, oh, you know what, we're being generous today, right? And so then that affects the bottom line in the end, and maybe you're losing $1 on every taco they sell.
So that's true. I mean, no matter what, I do have a tool that we use all the time for our tacos, but you're right, somebody can put just extra on there just because they feel that it looks small. And so that's a hard one to measure. It's just constant conversations and training up the staff. Here's what you do. And
how would you even know that happened?
It's hard.
You just look at the total sales and the expenses and what you have left?
I can tell now. I mean, so I buy a certain amount of meat for tacos only, and so if I can tell based on what I'm serving. So if I'm making oxtails and I know that
Did you say oxtails?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
You've
never had
this
that.
This is America. We do not need to eat a tail.
Please. Joe, you don't know where you're missing.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I do. It's kind of in the same realm as chicken feet. I don't like that.
Oh, you don't like chicken feet?
Not at all.
Oh,
Are you kidding me?
What about pig's feet?
No.
Oh, pig's feet are good.
Some curried chicken feet is good. Yeah, Joe.
No.
Chicken feet I don't like. Gizzards, necks, I'm not a fan of. Pig's feet is okay.
Oxtail is good.
Oxtail is good.
Yeah.
It's great, as a matter of fact. It is one of the best tasting part of the cow.
What?
Yes,
it isn't.
I'm serious. Will you try if I make it?
Maybe.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, if you don't tell me and then have me eat it, and then I'll be like, hey, that was oxtail. I'm like, oh, no wonder I hated it. Okay. Then I'll know.
We'll see, John.
Okay.
We'll see.
We'll see.
But if, say I bought oxtail and I bought a certain amount, I know that this will serve. So I buy 15 pounds of oxtail. I know that this will serve a certain amount of people. And because then we have it. I have it on the tablet. So oxtail is, if we've only served 5. Then I look in the pot and oxtail is gone, then I know that something is off. Yep.
So what is your accounting system you use when you're doing sales? When you're selling credit cards?
Right now I use Square.
Square.
Yep.
Is that integrated in with like a point of sale type software? Okay.
Yep.
Yes. That's
Square.
No, but I meant for like her menu specifically, so she can track.
Yeah.
Sold
so you can.
tacos.
So you put your menu in there. You put your amounts.
It says that all in there. Yep.
Okay, so when you do a big event, how do you know how many tacos, how many oxtails, how many of these things to bring when you're going on the 400 block for whatever?
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
I think I know what I sell a lot of. So tacos is we sell that a lot. So I'll always have a lot of anticipating. So say there is 1,000 people come in, I'm anticipating that out of the 1,000, maybe 500 of them won't eat, and then so about 150, about 100 close to 100 people might come and stop by my area. And so that's what I prepare for and have a little bit more.
Do you track, like, if you go to the same event multiple years in a row, do you keep track of how many?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and Square does that. So I can always go back and see, okay, what we did in what, and what day. So if I'm there for multiple days, it will tell me how well I did.
Do you still take cash, or is it only card?
I still take cash. Okay. That's the hard part, you know. But then every menu item, everything is written. So you're on the food truck. We have a card, you know, if you put an order in, and so I can also track it that way. Yeah. The cash sales too. You can track everything, and then you account for it at the end of the day. Okay. Okay. So residual income. Well, we've talked about residual income in the past, but I like residual income a lot. That's to me the ultimate form of income. And for those of you who don't know what residual income is, it's income that we put a lot of work into something initially, and then it continually pays us dividends in the future. So a good example is stock market. You buy a stock, it gives you dividends, it goes up in value. You don't do anything, but you bought that stock and it goes up. So how is your food truck? Do you have any goals or aspirations to make that a residual, and how would you do it? At this time, I think the best way to do it would be to have a facility where other food trucks can come in, where other owners can come use. It becomes, my facility becomes their home. They use it for their setting up their business, cooking their foods, and so they're paying for rent, they're paying, so there's a monthly rent pay, but the amount of times that they use it is also money coming in. I think that's the best way for me with the food truck at this point, to be able to make residual income. I haven't thought about it. The other way would be to have more than one food trucks, of course, and that, you know, having someone else run it. I think that would be another great way of making residual income, but we're not at that place. I'm not there yet.
So when you're talking about the kitchen, you're talking like a membership, like a community kitchen, where would it be like a subscription plan, a membership plan? Like, say I had a food truck and I wanted to come in unlimited amounts of time, would that be the same as Joe wanted to come in once a week and use it as just baked goods or whatever, and to have a commercial kitchen? Are you talking about like different tiers of membership?
Different tiers. It would be different, because some people they don't have a place to store their foods, you know, so having fridge capacity, having storage capacity, and so having that, or some people just want to come and just cook and then leave, and you have to as a food truck owner, you have to have a certified kitchen to be able to do that. You can't really do that. Your food truck is not a certified kitchen. There needs to be a brick and mortar with all those things for that. You can
get your food truck if it has everything that a kitchen needs,
like fire suppression and all that.
Can you get that?
Yes, but Wisconsin still has that requirement that you need to have a brick and mortar.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. It is good to have all of that stuff on there, because then you can cook and washing your vegetables and stuff. Those are the important piece. So when someone comes out, a health inspector comes out, those are some of the things. So you'd have to have 5 sinks on your food truck. In your food truck.
Little baby sinks?
One little baby sink, and then maybe 2 little baby sinks, but then you have to have those 3 sinks that you use too. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So right now you're focused on putting the time in, getting that built up, and finding a location. Finding a spot to do it. Have you seen any? Have you looked at any? Or are you ready? If you found one tomorrow, are you ready to do it?
No.
Okay.
Financially, I'm not ready to do it. I think, it would be great to have an investor to assist in that, but financially, I'm not ready.
If you ran your food truck successfully by the end of the year, would you be able to then?
Not this year. I'll tell you why. Because I'm still coming out of debt from the college.
Mm.
This year I'll be done.
Yeah.
You know, I've already gone through, but I do think next year.
Yeah.
I would be at
so
that
you
place.
you think you'll be able to make enough on the
Yep.
food trucks?
Mm-hmm.
Do you run the food trucks all winter?
No.
So you kind of take off there.
Yep.
Do you make enough on the food trucks to survive all year, or do you? I mean,
I can. If I was running the food truck full time,
Mm-hmm.
I think I could, where I could survive all year. But right now I'm doing it part time because I have a full time job.
Mm-hmm.
But if I ran it full time, going to events and going to, you know, setting up at different places, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Yeah.
pick up any extra catering or anything over
Oh,
the
yeah,
winter
all
when-
the time.
when the season's
Yep.
slow with the food truck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So catering all the time. I'm always doing some of those, in-home cooking. Lots more people are having some of those parties. I think
Mhm.
that can be successful.
Yeah, and I think when we talk about businesses, the residual income discussion is like, oh, well, we just want to do it right away and get it. Like, so right now is the part where you're putting all the hard work into it,
Mhm.
right? Whereas, so like you take a dollar, you put it in the stock market. Well, that dollar that you earned was that hard work,
Right.
and then it gives you that return. But businesses can be residual. It's just hard. It takes a long time to build it to a place
Mhm.
where then it can be residual. And that's what you're in the middle of that hard work part.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
For sure.
Fast equals risk.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
True.
But slow doesn't equal not risk.
Mm-hmm.
Less risk.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. What kind of things, I mean, we've kind of talked about it already, but what kind of things have you learned that you're improved on over the last, I don't know, couple years?
I think one, financially, how to manage the money that comes in. I think when I initially started, we would prepare a whole lot of food and we did not have enough people coming in to purchase.
Yeah.
So we lost a lot of food that way. And then that's how we really started. So I would make jerk chicken, and then okay, now we have all this jerk chicken that we could just turn it into taco meat. And that's really how I started making tacos, because of that. But yes, that's a big part.
Mm-hmm.
Not buying so much food or not preparing so much food at once.
Mhm.
I've learned that. And then, you know, just financially, okay, if I don't have money to buy oxtail or goat meat, that's more expensive than anything else, okay, then we're gonna serve curry chicken today instead of curry goat. And so I've learned that it's okay. People are okay with, especially on the food truck. It's different if you're in a...
Especially with oxtail.
Yeah. Well, no, I cannot say that, Joe. Yeah, but, you know, it's okay on the food truck to have something different. But if we're in a brick and mortar, if we're going to serve curry goat, I need to always have curry goat.
Yeah.
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 There's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And personalities. Who's the right person to be working?
Mm-hmm.
You know, on a food truck. You have to kind of be able to move quickly and know that, you know, some people are gonna come with their attitude, and
Mhm.
how are you gonna, you know, work with that?
Yeah.
I would imagine you'd be balancing some, I haven't had a customer for 15 minutes and I'm doing nothing, and then there's a line of 15
Exactly.
people.
Exactly.
That
That's
balance is gonna be
really
tough.
how it is, and you know, and knowing that it's gonna get crazy, and how do you manage it within the truck? How do you manage who is handling what
Mhm.
within the truck?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Do you have any other thoughts before we go to conclusion or the end here?
I just have a question. What is the hardest thing that you've done so far? If you had to pick one thing, what's the hardest part
Of this business.
of the journey you've taken in the food truck and could be catering, whatever. But what's the hardest thing?
This one, that's a hard question. I think I don't know how to respond to that. Maybe the hardest part for me was losing so much money in my first 2 years. Having at the end, because I did accounting in school, and then I see at the end there's red on my it's like, that's hard, because then now I'm at that place where I'm digging myself out of there, and I thank God that I'm almost out. I think that was the hardest part. And you know, it's like, it's me. I got to take myself out of it. I mean, I put myself there, so now I got to take myself out, and not knowing that how emotional it could be. So I think that was the hardest. The cooking, that stuff is easy. Transitioning, you know, knowing how to be in the kitchen and running around, you know, that's the financial part.
Yeah. So we always like to do a little challenge thing. You know, it sounds like you've got a lot of your stuff figured out and you've already gone through the hard parts. And so now you've narrowed down, you've identified this is what's going to work, execute, right? So execution is sometimes the easy part, but sometimes it's the hard part. For me, I love figuring everything out, but then executing, like, I don't want to do that. Right? I don't, like, do I have to do that? I guess I do. And so, like, I can pull up your bootstrap. What is the term? Pull your boot, whatever. But then you go and you do it and you do it and you do it, and for me, I have to figure out a way for me to get it figured out, get it done right, and then let other people help me be successful at it. However, I would encourage you to not worry about that right now. Because you're not. You've already got that. So I think you've got your head on straight pretty good. Right now is the time for you to execute, like you said, get out of your debt and see how good this could really be, right? Is it really a long-term thing that you really want to do? Is it something that you can take and change your life with? Or is it a good stepping stone to get to something else? So I would encourage you on your goal setting, on all that kind of stuff, just get down into it this year at the end of the season. Stop, take a deep breath and think, like, did I enjoy that? Is that what I want to be? Is that where I want to go? And did I make any money doing it? Right? And don't be afraid to change course if you need to, but then you can start having some fun conversations. So
thank you.
Yeah, sounds really good. We want everybody to be able to come support, buy food, not oxtail, but, you know, all the other good stuff.
Come on, Joe. You're gonna hear how many persons like oxtail.
Excellent. Well, we'll see. The 3 people that reply will probably be paid, I think. No,
that's okay.
So how do people find out where your food truck's gonna be? How do people buy your stuff?
So they can find us on our socials at A Taste Jamaica on Facebook and Instagram, and it can be emailed at any time. And so all of our schedules are on our social media at this moment. Our website is not up, so I have to work on that to fix that. But yeah,
cool.
Taste of Jamaica.
Where are you gonna be this weekend?
We will be at the soccer tournament here at the not East Bay, but People's Complex.
Yes.
Okay.
Where are you gonna be next weekend?
Next weekend, I'm doing a catering.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure if this will be up this weekend or next weekend. But
then I'll be in Merrill the next one.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. All right. Very good.
So check out your Facebook. And
they'll find the schedules already up.
Okay. Yep. Cool. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Janice.
Thank you. This was fun. I appreciate you guys.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the links for our guests in the comments section on YouTube and Facebook. Drop a like, follow, comment, share with somebody. If you have questions, make sure to ask. We're always here to help. And remember, friends don't let friends suck.